In Johannesburg, on average, City Power loses R1 million daily in only one area, Roodepoort. This as a result of vandalism and theft. The Johannesburg power supplier was giving an update on damage following the recent flash floods that hit parts of Johannesburg. And eNCA reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones attended that briefing earlier on. Let's go live to him now for an update. And Pule, apart from the flash floods that City Power mentioned, other challenges that they are saying they are dealing with, what are the other challenges that they are mentioning that impact on power supply?
Yeah, definitely. Just that I'm looking down here, reflecting on some of the key issues that have been highlighted from this briefing today by the utility. Of course, there being City Power saying they're losing just about 2 mini substations per day due to vandalism, theft, and of course other issues tantamounting to criminal activities. So this is a very serious challenge for them, apart from the devastating floods which have wrecked some of the electrical infrastructure in the city of Joburg. But most importantly, we now understand that City Power has admitted that they're struggling to keep the lights on, particularly in certain areas such as Hill and Roodepoort as well. But let's just take a listen to what the officials had to say about the challenges that they're encountering on a daily.
Today we had an incident whereby somebody shot at our transformer with a gun. It therefore means that customers are off. We do not understand what would bring about such violent acts to our infrastructure. As it is, we are battling with a lot of theft and vandalism, which is resulting in our customers being off for longer periods. At Joburg, we had our teams deployed there to restore supply, and unfortunately they were robbed and beaten up, and their belongings were taken away from them, and we've had to withdraw our teams. So we do appeal to the communities for patience. We appeal to the communities to assist in protecting that infrastructure, but in also ensuring that they allow our teams to do the work.
So which areas are being highlighted, Pule, in terms of the disruptions, damage to infrastructure, vandalism, etc.?
There's quite a lot of areas to list, especially in Roodepoort as well, Hill, and some other areas within the neighboring communities there, such as Roodepoort. We also understand that they're trying to stabilize the electricity issues in that area there. But also Bosmont is one area which has been highlighted to be quite problematic as well in terms of some of the mini substations that have been hurt and affected, or damaged rather. But we also know that there's a bit of progress that's been made, particularly in areas such as Alexandra and Lenasia as well, where these areas were being hard hit by floods. City Power saying they've come in to ensure that they can stabilize electricity connection in those areas and ensure that their clients, being the residents, of course, receive the sufficient electricity supply. But of course, they're doing all they can to ensure that other areas as well are rehabilitated and that they are reconnected as soon as possible. Let's just take a listen to what the officials had to say.
So this morning we woke up to about 4,700 calls, which means that there's more than 4,700 customers with their lights being off. And in terms of those numbers, about 3,000 of those numbers are only in 2 areas, which is the Hill area and the Roodepoort area. So we've got a total of 8 areas. When this started, all the 8 areas were affected. But we're happy to say that by today we have stabilized our operations in terms of the other 6 areas, meaning Alexander, Midrand, Lenasia, Reuven, and Randburg, as well as Inner City. We still have some customers off, but it's within the parameters that we can cope with. But in terms of Hill and Roodepoort, we are appealing to our customers for a little bit more patience and understanding, and we are committing that we are working around the clock to ensure that they are on.
Yeah, and there's a cost to all of this, Pule, and it's a massive cost. We are told about R1 million that City Power loses per day.
Yeah, definitely, especially in areas such as Roodepoort. But the biggest issue here is the crime element, the criminal element, whereby some councillors have also raised concerns about the security that's been put in place to protect some of this, public infrastructure as well, such as copper and such as those expensive resources. One must also highlight that City Power has now had to maximize its capacity of deploying more boots on the ground, including security personnel and of course engineers, to ensure that they can look after this infrastructure and try to fix it as well. They've also now structured their communication model, expanded it through all social media platforms and of course on the ground to say that community members should report any incident whereby a mini substation isn't operating, because it is costing the utility quite a lot of money as well. But then you have areas such as Allen's Neck, whereby some community members are complaining about not having had electricity for about 55 hours already, and that the people guarding the mini substation, they claim not to have the key to the substation to fix whatever issue there is there. So those are just some of the issues that have bottled up to what the utility now has to address. But they're quite optimistic to say they're looking into this matters. I mean, they're receiving just about 4,000 calls on a daily from residents who are complaining and trying to log their queries and get that help from the utility that they desire. Particularly during this festive season, many are hoping to have lights, but at a broader level, it's something that continues to haunt many communities as well after what we've seen with the floods, but as also at a national level with load shedding as well, where Eskom, of course, had announced that they are experiencing problems with, of course, reviving the Joburg unit, which they're saying they are repairing the steam generator, which will cost them also just about 12 billion rand. So it's just a lot of money that's been used on maintenance and trying to maintain some of this aging infrastructure as well. But let's just take a listen to what the utility had to say regarding the issue of losses and costs.
It's obviously a combination of factors, and I think if I can talk more to the Roodepoort area, it's quite unfortunate that that is actually the area where the rate of theft and vandalism is really astronomical. Per day, we wake up to a minimum of 2 mini substations actually vandalized in that area. And you'll appreciate that a mini sub, we're talking about equipment that costs us about 500,000, which means we are losing about R1 million a day at a minimum in that area. In certain instances, it's about theft. Obviously, people are stealing certain components, but in certain instances, it's really just vandalism. It's also the area that at some point in time we spoke to where people were just coming in to steal fuses. So every single day we're waking up to fuses being stolen. So there's a lot of theft and vandalism in that area. Now this is compounded by load shedding. So you'll appreciate that when load shedding is happening, it's downtime for the network and criminals take advantage of that. And we're actually at a back foot because you'll appreciate that we do have to announce, right? We do have to communicate to our customers so that they can make alternative arrangements. But unfortunately, as we announce, we are also announcing to the criminals who then take advantage of that.
That's the CEO of City Power, the Chifularo Mashava, ending that report by eNCA's Pule Letshwiti-Jones. Look out for